Now, this morning, we have got a very stabilizing practice, focusing on our awareness of two of the major functions and directions of prana, the prana vayu, not to be confused with prana as substance or force, but rather the direction of prana as it moves in and up, and appana vayu, which is prana as it moves down and out. And as we attend to these two opposites in the cycle of breath, we help to recalibrate and bring more balance in general to the system. So I hope that you enjoy this morning's offering. We're going to begin with a few kriyas just to get us in a receptive state, starting off by just feeling into the neck. So just very calmly and gently, please begin to articulate the bones in the neck and pay close attention to where in each range of motion you maybe feel a little bit of congestion or catching. Is there any residual tightness after an evening spent on your pillow? Good. And now that we've just taken a little lay of the land as regards the neck, we're going to bring our attention into the tongue, which has a very interesting relationship with the entire body, but the neck especially. And this is a new one. We're going to protrude the tongue out from the mouth and then just hold up your finger and place it next to the tongue. I'll show you in a moment, but what we're going to do is to attempt to push the tongue quite firmly against the finger, keeping the eyes and the head still, keeping the mouth open, and of course, keeping the breath moving. So when you're ready, we'll stick the tongue out. Just pop your finger next to the tongue and begin to push your tongue against the finger like this. Good. Hold that and breathe slowly. Try not to accumulate any tension in the jaw. Just keep the tongue pushing there and hold and hold and hold and relax. We'll lift the other side now, the other index finger, and then again protrude the tongue and begin to push it quite enthusiastically against the finger. Good. Hold it there and breathe. Try not to accumulate any tension or strain in the jaw, in the face, keeping the breath moving. And hold and hold and hold and relax. Good. And now we'll move into our tongue circle. So please set your eye gaze on something in front of you that's not going to move. And keeping your head very still, begin to draw some slow circles with the tip of your tongue along the inside of your lips. 10 circles in one direction, and then 10 circles in the other direction. Good, nice and slow. Don't be shocked if this is either a bit uncomfortable or the coordination is challenging first thing in the morning. Just persevere. And once you have finished 10 circles in both directions, take your time. Once you have completed those 20 laps of the tongue, then again, in your own time, move the head and the neck slowly and curiously. Do you detect any difference in that tightness or congestion, if indeed it showed up for you this morning? If you're still going with your tongue circles, please continue. The slower, the better. And when you are ready to come to settle, Just establishing yourself in your own best upright seat. If you're sitting in a chair with the feet flat on the floor, you might like to rest your back up against the wall or the back of the couch, whatever's handy. And just feeling that your foundation, the hips and pelvis, are nice and steady so that the spine and the rib cage can float and sit easily. We'll start off with our reset breath. When you're ready, please exhale completely. And now take a big inhale through the nose. Hold on to that, top it up with a second nasal inhale and out through the mouth slowly. Good. Again, big nasal inhale. Hold on to that, top it up and out through the mouth slowly. Good. Again, one nasal inhale, two nasal inhales, long exhale through the mouth. Please take two more, just like that, on your own. If you detect any underlying hum of anxiety or tension, you might take a few extra rounds of the reset breath, as many as you need. And when you are ready to settle and arrive, please lift your tongue to rest flat against the roof of the mouth. Allow the jaw to relax. The lips are gently touching as we come to meet the breath, moving through the nostrils. The invitation is to settle your eye gaze gently down in the direction of the nose without any strain or force. Softening in the shoulders, in the face. And summoning your awareness up into the channels of the nostrils. Becoming acquainted with the movement of the air. You might notice that one of your nostrils feels more or less open than the other. A reminder that if at any stage during the practice that one of your nostrils becomes occluded to the point of you really noticing it, then to place your tennis ball or a rolled up pair of socks beneath the opposite armpit to the nostril that feels congested and continue the practice with that prop in place. Allowing some of your awareness to gently drop down now into the rib cage. Noticing the movement of the ribs. If you would like to encourage a little bit more free and full movement in the rib cage, the suggestion is to work with the palms of your hands facing the ceiling, allowing that subtle external rotation of the upper arm bones to create more movement in the thorax. Inviting yourself to become curious now as to how you perceive the breath moving in the lungs. Do not overthink this. Just drop the attention into the region of the lungs. As you inhale, how do you perceive that in-breath atomizing and distributing itself through the lung tissue? And as you exhale, similarly, noticing how you sense the air leaving the lungs. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. The eye gaze gently down toward the nose. Attention in the rib cage and the lungs as you sense the difference between the inhale and the exhale. And now that we are settled, please begin to invoke your Ujjayi technique with a very gentle hug of your windpipe toward the back of the throat. In exactly the same way as you would if you were fogging up a pane of glass, but keep the breath moving through the nostrils. Using the valve-like mechanism, the hug of the throat, to help you slow the breath down. And paying attention to both the sound and the sensation of the breath. Attempting to create a sound and a feeling in the breath that is very smooth, very subtle, and very well distributed across the length of either side of the breath. And once more, inviting yourself to become curious as to how you sense the breath penetrating the lung tissue. Noticing the inhale and the exhale. You might notice here that with the addition of the Ujjayi technique, that in-breath is being drawn down deep into the lower lobes of the lungs, the backs and the sides of the lungs. And perhaps allowing the corners of your mouth to turn up very slightly as you soften the face. Giving yourself permission to settle here in this very simple rhythm. Turning your attention to the qualities of the breath, the rising, swelling, ascendant, pranic updraft of the inhalation, the emptying, descending, grounding, downward feeling of the exhalation. Stay with this. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. Eye gaze down toward the nose. The smooth, subtle, sibilant feeling of the ujjayi. The equal and opposite qualities of the inhale and the exhale. When you are ready, please begin now to take note of how long your inhalations are this morning using your ujjayi technique without any strain or force, counting a few cycles of the breath. And once you have ascertained where the inhale has landed for you this morning, please bring the exhalation up to meet it. Keep your mind anchored in the count and allow your physical senses to remain engaged in the feeling of either side of the breath. The rising inward pranic current of the inhale, the descending downward current of the exhalation. No tension or strain. And when you are ready, please begin to stretch your inhalations out to twice their current length. The challenge is always on the longer side of the breath. Notice how the gentle hug of your windpipe allows you to slow the breath down. Invite yourself to sip and to savor the inhale, drawing it slowly in through the nostrils, allowing it to gather and channelize at the pit of the throat before slowly drawing the inhale down deep into the lungs. Keeping the sound and the sensation of your breath subtle. If you sense that the double length inhale is creating any tension, then shave off 2 counts. But stay with this. Keep your mind anchored in the count. Remain engaged with the sensations that accompany the inhale and the exhale. At the end of your next exhalation, letting go of the count, allow your breath to return to its quiet, unmanipulated state. And take a moment to simply rest in the space that you are creating. If you feel the need, take this opportunity to gently readjust your seat, but try not to dissolve into unnecessary fidgeting or distraction. We move now into our peak technique for this week's practice, a beautiful variation of Nadi Shodhana. Many of us are familiar with the Nadi Shodhana pattern: an inhale through the left nostril, exhale right, followed by inhaling through the right and finishing with an exhale on the left. But during springtime, it is incumbent on us to create a little bit of stimulation and more mobilization of the prana. And so this week we'll be working with the opposite in the Nadi Shodhana pattern, known as Viloma Nadi Shodhana, which simply means against the grain. So you might think of this as flushing a reverse cycle through the network of nadis. It's not dissimilar to that in concept. We'll be working with our Ujjayi technique as always, and the invitation is to layer your Samavritti 1 count where you landed first in the practice this morning, to layer that over the top as well. Nadi Shodhana and the alternate nostril patterns can be performed with your dominant hand, creating a literal seal or occlusion of the nostrils, or if that creates any discomfort, or if you just don't like it, then you can work with simply taking your attention from one side to the other. If you're going to be working with your hand, just rest the elbow of the working hand in the opposite hand and create a shelf so that there's no tension in the shoulders. We begin by simply coming back into our ujjayi to start, letting the eyes close down, allowing the eye gaze to descend and settle in the direction of the nose, feeling the subtle suction of the tongue against the palate as you settle back into your ujjayi breath. Allowing attention to descend down into the lungs. Feeling the rise and fall of the breath. The pranic and apanic currents. Softening the face, the shoulders. And invite yourself now, please, to settle back into the count for your Samavritti 1. The even inhale and exhale. Keep your mind anchored in the count. At the end of your next exhalation, taking attention into the left nostril or sealing the right nostril with the thumb of your working hand. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Allow the working hand to drop down. Breath moves through both nostrils for a few cycles. Moving into our Anulom Nadi Shodhana. Attention into the right nostril. Inhale. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Releasing both nostrils and taking a few rounds of ujjayi breath through both nostrils, present with the sensations. Cycling back into Nadi Shodhana now, sealing the right nostril attention into the left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Taking a few rounds of breath through both nostrils. Present and attentive. Cycling back into our Anulom Vilom Nadi Shodhana, sealing the left nostril attention in the right now. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. 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 Please continue this pattern on your own. Maintaining a steady count and rhythm. moving breath and attention from nostril to nostril. Stay with this. At the end of your next exhale through the right nostril, letting go of the pattern and the count. Allow yourself to return to your natural quiet breath. And notice the space that you have created. When you are ready, take your time to make your way onto your back for your Shavasana. Propping yourself in whatever way feels supportive for your body, but ultimately arriving on the earth with the palms of the hands facing the ceiling. Let the toes fall away from the heels and surrender any gripping in the groins and the buttocks. Give your bones permission to feel heavy. Softening all muscular effort. Softening and spreading the flesh as you take up space in the room. This morning, as we rest and receive in Shavasana, the invitation is to work with your attention and to wrap your awareness lovingly around any parts of your body that you sense are in need of healing. Any areas of congestion, tightness, inflammation, or injury. Allow yourself to illuminate that area in the warm spotlight of your attention. And simply hold awareness there. Rest here and wait for the sound of my voice to summon you back. At the end of your next exhalation, letting go of the awareness, allowing your breath to deepen slightly. As you take attention out into the fingers and toes, carefully wiggling those digits and beginning to rotate into your wrists and ankles. Having a lovely yawn and a stretch. And perhaps hugging your knees in towards your chest before taking your time to roll onto your favorite side and pausing on your side for a moment. Invite your attention to gently re-atomize into the room and take your time to slowly curl yourself to an upright seat. As you arrive in your seat, taking a moment to just check in and notice how you are feeling here at the end of your practice, at the beginning of your day. Floating the palms to meet one another in front of the heart, or perhaps just resting one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. But punctuating the end of our session together, as always, with gratitude and acknowledgement, as we offer our thanks for the gift of this day, our lives and our health, and as we extend our respects and acknowledgements to one another and to the custodians of this living tradition. As always, dear friends, thank you so much for your company. My very sincere respect and gratitude to you all. Have a wonderful day. Let me know if you've got any feedback, and I will see you all again next time. Lots of love. Okay, bye.